Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam to all. So today we are reading from the book The Path of Perfection, written by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So we are continuing the second chapter, Mastering the Mind and Senses, from page number 19. In the Ashtanga-yoga system, these eightfold yogas, dhyana, dharana, etc., are meant to control the mind. Sri Krishna explicitly states that a man must utilize his mind to elevate himself. Unless one can control the mind, there is no question of elevation. The body is like a chariot, and the mind is like the driver. If you tell your driver, please take me to Krishna temple, the driver will take you there. But if you tell him, please take me to that liquor house, he will go there. It is the driver's business to take you wherever you like. If you can control the driver, he will take you where you should go. But if not, he will ultimately take you wherever he likes. If you have no control over your driver is your enemy. But if he acts according to your orders, he is your friend. The yoga system is meant to control the mind in such a way that the mind will act as your friend. Sometimes the mind acts as a friend and sometimes as an enemy. Because we are a part and parcel of the Supreme, who has infinite independence, we have minute or finite independence. It is the mind that is controlling that independence, and therefore he may either take us to the Krishna temple or to some nightclub. It is the purpose of this Krishna consciousness movement to fix the mind on Krishna. When the mind is so fixed, he cannot do anything but act as our friend. He has no scope to act any other way. As soon as Krishna is seated in the mind, there is light. Just as when the sun is in the sky, darkness is vanquished. Krishna is just like the sun, and when he is present, there is no scope for darkness. If we keep Krishna in our mind, the darkness of Maya will never be able to enter. Keeping the mind fixed on Krishna is perfection of yoga. If the mind is strongly fixed on the Supreme, it will not allow any nonsense to enter, and there will be no fall down. If the mind is strong, the driver is strong, and we may go wherever we may desire. The entire yoga system is meant to make the mind strong, to make it incapable of deviating from the Supreme. Savai manah Krishna padaravindayo. Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.18. One should fix his mind on Krishna, just as Ambarish Maharaj did when he had a fight with great aṣṭānga yogi named Durvasa Muni. Since Ambarish Maharaj was a householder, he was a pound shilling man. This means that he had to take into account pounds, shillings, and sixpence, or dollars and cents. Apart from being a householder, Maharaj Ambarish was also a great king and a devotee. Durvasa Muni was a great yogi who happened to be very envious of Maharaj Ambarisha. Durvasa Muni was thinking, I am a great yogi and I can travel in space. This man is an ordinary king and he does not possess such yogic powers. Still, people pay him more honor. Why is this? I will teach him a good lesson. Durvasa Muni then proceeded to pick up a quarrel with Maharaj Ambarish. But because the king was always thinking of Krishna, he managed to defeat this great yogi. Durvasa Muni was consequently directed by Narayan to take the shelter of the feet of Maharaj Ambarish. Durvasa Muni was such a perfect yogi that within a year he could travel throughout the material universe and also penetrate the spiritual universe. Indeed, he went directly to the abode of God Vaikunta and saw the personality of God himself. Yet, Durvasa Muni was so weak that he had to return to earth and fall at the feet of Maharaj Ambarish. Maharaj Ambarish was an ordinary king, but his one great qualification was that he was always thinking of Krishna. Thus, his mind was always controlled, and he was situated at the highest perfectional level of yoga. We also can very easily control the mind by keeping it fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna within. Simply by thinking of Krishna, we become victorious conquerors or topmost yogis. Yoga Indriya Samyamaha. The yoga system is meant to control the senses. And since the mind is above the senses, if we can control the mind, our senses are automatically controlled. The tongue may want to eat something improper, but if the mind is strong, it can say, no, you can't eat this. You can eat only Krishna Prasad. In this way, the tongue, as well as all the other senses, can be controlled by the mind. Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhyah param manah. Bhagavad Gita 3.42. The material body consists of the senses. and consequently, the body's activities are sensual activities. However, above the senses is the mind, and above the mind is the intelligence, and above intelligence is the spirit soul. If one is on the spiritual platform, his intelligence, mind, and senses all are spiritualized. The purpose of this Krishna consciousness process is to actualize the spiritualization of the senses, mind, and intelligence. The spirit soul is superior to all, but because he is sleeping, he has given the power of authority to the fickle mind. However, when the soul is awakened, he is once again master, and the servile mind cannot act improperly. Once we are awakened in Krishna consciousness, the intelligence, mind, and senses cannot act nonsensically. They must act in accordance with the dictations of the spirit soul. That is spiritualization and purification. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktiruchyate Chaitanya Charitamrit Madhya Lila 19.170. We must serve the master of the senses with the senses. The Supreme Lord is called Rishikesha, which means that he is the original controller of the senses. Just as a king is the controller of all the activities of the state and the citizens are the secondary controllers. Bhakti means acting spiritually in accordance with the desires of Rishikesha. How can we act? Since we must act with our senses, we must spiritualize our senses in order to act properly. As stated before, sitting in silent meditation means stopping undesirable activity, but acting in Krishna consciousness is transcendental. The cessation of nonsensical action is not in itself perfection. We must act perfectly. Unless we train our senses to act in accordance with the Rishikesha, the master of senses, our senses will engage in undesirable activities and we will fall down. Therefore, we must engage the senses in action for Krishna, and in this way, we remain firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. In material existence, one is subjected to the influence of mind and the senses. In fact, the pure soul is entangled in the material world because of this mind's ego, which desires to lord over the material nature. Therefore, the mind shall be trained so that it will not be attracted by the glitter of material nature, and in this way, the conditioned soul may be saved. One should not degrade oneself by attraction to sense objects. The more one is attracted by sense objects, the more one becomes entangled in material existence. The best way to disentangle oneself is to always engage the mind in Krishna consciousness. The word he in the verse 5, chapter 6, Bhagavad Gita, is used to emphasize this point, namely that one must do this. It is also said, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho bandhaya vishaya sango mukye nirvishayam manaha. For man, mind is the cause of bondage and mind is the cause of liberation. Mind absorbed in sense objects is the cause of bondage, and mind detached from sense objects is the cause of liberation. Vishnu Puran 6.7.28. The mind is always engaged in Krishna consciousness is the cause of supreme liberation. When the mind is thus engaged in Krishna consciousness, there is no chance of its being engaged in Maya consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, we remain in sunlight. There is no chance of our being obscured by darkness. Because we have freedom or liberty, we can stay within a dark room or go out into the broad daylight. That is our choice. Darkness can be eradicated by light, but light cannot be covered by darkness. If we are in a dark room and someone brings a lamp, the darkness is vanquished. But we cannot take darkness into sunlight. It is not possible. The darkness will simply fade away. Krishna Surya Samamaya Haya Andakara. Krishna is like sunlight and Maya is like darkness. How can darkness exist in sunlight? If we always keep ourselves in the sunlight, darkness will fail to act upon us. This is the whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Always engage in Krishna conscious activities and Maya will be dissipated, just as darkness is dissipated and there is light. This is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.4. Bhakti yogena manasi samyakrani te male apashyat purusham purnam mayam cha tad apashrayam. When the sage Vyasadeva, under the instruction of his spiritual master Narad, fixed his mind perfectly, engaging in it by linking it in devotional service, Bhakti Yoga, without any tinge of materialism, Vyasadeva saw the absolute personality of Godhead. along with his external energy, which was under full control. The word manasi refers to the mind. When one is enlightened in Bhakti Yoga, the mind becomes completely freed from all contamination. Samyak prani hite male. When Vyasadeva saw Supreme Personality of Godhead, he saw Maya in the background. Mayam cha tad apashrayam. When there is light, there is also the possibility of darkness being present. That is, darkness in the other side of light, or darkness is under the shelter of light. Just as if I hold my hand up to the light, the top part of my hand will be in light and the bottom part will be shaded. In other words, one side is light and other is darkness. When Vyasadeva saw Krishna, the Supreme Lord, he also saw Maya, darkness, under his shelter. And what is this Maya? This is explained in the next verse of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.5. Yaya sammohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam paropi manutenartham tatkritam chabhipadhyate. Due to the external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material miseries. Thus, the illusory energy has temporarily covered the conditioned souls. And who are these conditioned souls? Although finite, the conditioned spirit souls are full of light as Krishna. The problem is that the conditioned souls identify himself with this material world. This is called illusion, false identification with matter. Although the individual spirit soul is transcendental, he engages in improper activities under the dictation of Maya, and this brings about his conditioning of false identification. This is very elaborately explained in 7th chapter, 1st canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In conclusion, our actual position is that of spiritual sparks, full of light. Now, we are temporarily covered by illusory energy, Maya, which is dictating to us. Under the influence of Maya, we are becoming more and more entangled in material energy. The yoga system is meant to disentangle us, and perfection of yoga is Krishna consciousness. Thus, Krishna consciousness is the most effective means by which we can disentangle ourselves from influence of material energy. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.